Hi, everybody. My name is Nidhi Gupta. I'm the SVP of Technology at Hired. How many of the people in the room know about Hired or have heard of us? Okay, quite a few. Thank you for the applause. So as some of you may not know, Hired is a marketplace that connects top tech talent with the world's most innovative companies. At Hired, we understand and firmly believe that inequality starts with unequal access to opportunities. So we do a lot of work in terms of creating those equal opportunities and several things that Maria mentioned in her talk. We facilitate the entire process, right from a candidate creating their profile on Hired all the way to them getting hired. And luckily or unluckily, it gives us a lot of insights into some of the biases that exist in our industry today. We use a lot of machine learning and humans to solve for these biases, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So moving on. Oh, sorry. All right, so let's take an example of when algorithms actually don't do what we expect them to do. So we all remember these. A lot of us saw these in our newsfeed election season 2 years ago. And how did this happen? Some dude sitting somewhere created some fake content. In addition to that, they also created lots of fake accounts. They promoted these posts by virtue of liking and sharing. These likes and shares promoted this content into our respective news feeds, and they got higher and higher in our news feeds. The algorithms actually did what they were designed to do. What did not work is that negative signal to inform the algorithms that this content was fake. Let's look at another example. This is my favorite example. Siri, should I jump off this bridge? I found 2 bridges near you, Nidhi. Siri understood what I asked Siri to do. It did the right thing. The context was missing, right? Another one. This one annoys me to death. I've always, for the longest time, thought that I just didn't know how to use these soap dispensers in bathrooms. And I thought I was the idiot in the room. I recently learned I was not that idiot. Some of these brands, they were actually designed and tested with just white skin. So me, with my brown skin, they just wouldn't work for me, right? So you see, I had the same aha reaction. So now let's look at recruiting, right? So let's look at some of these issues that we have in our industry today. Pariah talked about this, right? Our industry is so focused on pedigree. It's all about the right school and the right company. It starts at elementary school. From the right elementary school, you make your way to the right middle school. From there, you make your way to the right high school. After the right high school, if you make it to one of those Ivy League colleges, boom, opportunities just open up for you, right? We need to do something about this because we have such a huge volume of non-traditional candidates who are entering the workforce today. Another issue, we know in our industry there's a significant amount of representation gap and wage gap. So this is data we publish on an annual basis. So the black bars here, this data is for the LGBTQ men and women. The black bars here are what their expectations are, and the red bars there are what they actually get and receive when they get their final offers. And you can see for every single cohort, they get less than what they expect, and all of them across the board get less than their white male counterparts. So what can we do to solve for some of these issues? We believe that machine learning cannot by itself fix everything, so it has to be a combination of machine learning and humans. So first and foremost, we can use algorithms to level the playing field. We've talked about pedigree now. We can leverage algorithms to actually unbias humans. So the way we leverage this is via bias filters. So we can use algorithms, we use algorithms on Hired today to completely obfuscate and hide all self-identifying information so that you as a hiring manager and a recruiter can focus solely on the skills of that candidate as opposed to where they come from or who that resume belongs to. In addition to that, we need to move our industry from search to recommendations. Search enables this bad behavior that we see in the industry today. It is so easy to search for the right pedigree when you're searching for candidates. By virtue of moving to recommendations, the algorithm can be trained to focus on the hard skill sets that you absolutely desire in your candidates and absolutely not focus on anything else beyond those hard skills that you're looking for. But we need to make sure we do this right? And that's where humans come in. So we all saw the example of that automatic soap dispenser. What went wrong there? The lack of a diverse team. So before you start this journey and try to build algorithms that fix for some of the inequalities that you see today, make sure that you start by building a diverse team. The diverse team that you build is going to bring different points of view that's going to make your technology stronger. Next, training data for any algorithm is probably the most important thing that you will do and get right. So we know that there's a lot of representation gap in our industry today. In a pool of 1,000 candidates, there's 800 men and 200 women. We know that. If your algorithm is trained on that same pool of inequality that exists today, your algorithms are not going to create an equitable, diverse environment. What we do at Hired is we normalize the data set. So instead of using a data set of 1,000 candidates that has 800 men and 200 women, we actually normalize the data set to have 200 men and 200 women. This way, we make sure that our algorithm is not trained on the biases that exist today, but they actually strive for a better future for our industry. Lastly, we talked about salary bias. Salary bias is not just important because of the inequality that it creates in our environment today. Salary bias is also important because recruiters use that as a calibration mechanism. As a candidate, I can tell you that every single time I've been looking for a job and I speak with a recruiter, they will ask me how much I'm making. It's illegal now, thank goodness. But they ask me very openly how much I'm making so they can calibrate my seniority. We know that underrepresented groups make less, they ask for less, they negotiate less, and they continue to make less. So if salary continues to be the benchmark for our seniority, we will never rise up in this industry. The way we leverage technology and machine learning to fix for this is manifold. One of the things we can do is inform candidates. All of us as candidates should know our rights. We should also know how much we should be expecting. There's a lot of salary calculators available out there. This particular illustration is from Hired, but there's plenty of them that are available. There are also platforms like Hired that create wage transparency. So if you're that poor negotiator like I am, when you create your profile, you can actually state how much you deserve. That takes negotiation out of the equation. And we can use machine learning to guide our recruiters, our hiring managers, in terms of what they should be offering candidates, not just what they are making today. The only thing I will leave you with is algorithms cannot do it alone. I don't know how many of you read this article last week from Amazon that they found this significant bias in their algorithms. Algorithms and humans need to work together. We need to hold not just humans, but algorithms to the same set of benchmarks and quality criterion in order to create a more equitable and fair tech industry. Thank you. This is how you can get a hold of me.